We're back with more Madden 23 updates. We've got the weekly roster update going into the Super Bowl, and we also got some other news to talk about as well. And as always, if you're new to the channel and you never want to miss out on any of these important Madden 23 updates, or more importantly, the Madden 24 leaks and news that we're going to start getting pretty soon, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you never miss any of those videos when they drop. Now first, we got to talk about the upcoming title update for Madden 23. This is rumored to be dropping next week. As most of you know, we get the one big overall title update every month, and the last one dropped about 3 weeks ago, and usually the first or second week of the month is when these updates drop. So next week would be the second week of the month, and there's still a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on. And this is gonna probably be the second to last update for the game this year until they fully get into Madden 24 mode and stop updating Madden 23. So these last couple updates are very important because it's all we're gonna have for the rest of the year. For the people that do play year round, these last two updates are gonna be really important in making sure that the game is as stable as possible and also as balanced as possible for the remaining months of Madden 23. Now, the main thing they said that they're looking to do with these last updates is just balance the game, and that has been kind of the thing they've done the last few years of Madden. Those last couple updates, they focus heavily on game balance, meta balancing, and honestly, they were supposed to be doing this all year long, but it kind of went by the wayside. But for the last couple updates of the year, it's even more crucial because we want the game to be decently balanced for the remaining months of the year where it's not going to be able to get updated anymore. So there's going to be a lot of gameplay shifts likely happening in this last update and even the one that follows that in March. And one of the biggest things right now that still has not been touched are the new loot blitzes that have been around for about the last 2 months. It's really started to dominate the online scene. It's become pretty annoying, and it's how everybody's playing the game. The early loot blitzes got fixed within the first month of the game, which was pretty good, but this secondary loot blitz that has kind of made its presence felt over the last couple of months has not been touched yet, and I thought they would address this in the last update, but for some reason they didn't. So there's no reason to think that this shouldn't be the update that it finally gets fixed, and that would be a decent balancing act for the gameplay going forward because man defense has already been dialed back just a little bit, and if you can take away some of these instant looping blitzes, I think the game would definitely find a little bit more balance. But they could do a little bit of a buff to zone defense, which honestly has not been good in months. It was good in the beta, it was decent when the game first dropped, but it seems to only have gotten worse. A slight buff to zones and a fix to the loot blitzes could do the game a lot of good. Now, in terms of the other man-to-man blitzes like the dollar spinner and all of the edge pressures, I don't really know if they're going to be able to fix that this year because I think that's more of an offensive line targeting issue than anything else. And while they have made the offensive line a little bit better during the year compared to what it was at the launch of the game, it's still pretty bad. And I don't really see them being able to fix that this year because if they could have, I'm pretty sure they would have done it by now. I think they pretty much did what they could, and it's going to be one of those things where we have to wait until Madden 24 to get a rebuild potentially of the offensive line or have them go back and really clean it up, kind of the way they did with tackling and some of the defensive responsiveness this year. They went back and they gave that a lot of love this offseason, and you saw it get better this year, whereas the offensive line now, they need to put their attention on that, and I think that's going to be one of the things they focus on for Madden 24. So while the loot blitzes will probably get patched, the outside blitzes are probably still going to be a thing. There's also some other glitches that have started to pop up, like the running pancake glitch, where if you use a certain type of run, you can get auto pancakes on any 3 defensive linemen set, and that's pretty annoying. That's something they should be looking to tackle as well because they usually try to fix any major bugs or major glitches that are still present in the game during these last couple updates because they don't want them to just be around for the remaining months of the game, as that's going to annoy people. We should also be seeing the last batch of player likeness updates. They've been very consistent with that all year. There's still some more rookies and some second-year players, and even still some veterans that we're waiting to be scanned in the game. So we'll probably get our last batch for Madden 23, and the rest will have to wait until the beginning of Madden 24 to see who else they get in the offseason. We should be potentially getting another playbook update as well. They usually do a couple of playbook updates a year, and the last one usually is one of the last couple of updates because it's one of those things they kind of throw in there to try to give the game some new life, try to fresh it up a little bit. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't, but we're never going to turn our head to some new playbook stuff. And we're going to definitely be getting the last X Factor and Superstar update of the year. This is another thing that they normally do about 2 times a year. year. The last one came a few months ago, so we're due for them to do the next Superstar and X Factor update. It's either going to be in this update next week or it'll be in the one in March. There's really no way to tell. They should just go ahead and do it now. They like to do it at the end of the NFL season, which we're pretty much there. And there's a ton of names that need to move up, like Dexter Lawrence, Quentin Williams, Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase, Josh Jacobs, Sauce Gardner, and a ton of other names. And there's a bunch of names that need to move down, like Russell Wilson, Chandler Jones, and a few other guys that just haven't been playing that well this year. Another thing you might be interested in is EA Sports is doing the virtual Pro Bowl for the third year in a row. It is tomorrow, February 4th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to take place on their Twitch channel and I believe their YouTube channel as well, where they have some NFL players come in and they play the Pro Bowl game with the Pro Bowl rosters. You've got guys like Michael Parsons, Justin Jefferson, who's going to be a part of this, along with Tyreek Hill, Sauce Gardner, and there's some other guys in the mix as well. Again, if you're just looking for some entertainment or something to watch, you can check that out on their Twitch and YouTube tomorrow. And speaking of the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl, we should also be getting an update in the game soon where you can play this year's Super Bowl and this year's Pro Bowl. Usually around this time, they do put that update in the game where they refresh the Pro Bowl so that you can play with the active Pro Bowl teams with their new uniforms and the new rosters for this year. And they usually put the Super Bowl game in there as well, where you can play Chiefs versus Eagles, and usually some of the best players on the team will have X Factors and Superstars just specifically inside of that Super Bowl game that you can play with. They did it last year and they did it the year before as well, so I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking to do that soon this year again. That might be something that actually rolls out with the next update. Now let's look at the latest roster update. Of course, a lot of the players are going to be guys that played in the conference championships, but there are still some players on other teams that are still getting tweaked as the season ends. Starting with the players who are going up, we've got Jamar Chase going up +1 to a 92 overall, ending the year on a very high note. All that's really left is for them to bump him up to X Factor like he should have been a while ago, and that should happen with this next update. Another guy who could be going up to Superstar or X Factor potentially is Hassan Reddick, and he's going up this week +1, officially a 90 overall. He has had an amazing year for the Eagles, and he absolutely wrecked that conference championship game. He was unblockable. We've got T. Higgins going up +1 to a 87 overall. Charvarius Ward ending the year on a high note. He's had a really solid year. He's going up a lot. He's going up again +1 to a 86 overall. Javon Hargraves going up +1 to a 84 overall. Jake Elliott is going up +1 to an 80 overall. Landon Dickerson's going up +2 to a 80 overall. Tashawn Gibson's going up +1 to a 79 overall. Dalton Risner's going up +1 to a 78 overall. And we've also got a few other guys going up +1 to a 78. Gabe Jackson, Juan Thornhill, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who had an amazing conference championship. He really had a big game for the Chiefs, and he'll probably be looking to have a big game in the Super Bowl because they still have some injuries at wide receiver, so he's going to likely have to step up. We've got Cam Taylor Britt going up +1 to a 75 overall, and we've got Milton Williams also going up +1 to a 75. Now let's talk about the players who are going down, starting with AJ Brown. Kind of a surprise. He had the best year of his career, and he's mostly only gone up, but this week he's going down 1 to a 91 overall. I don't know if he played that well last week. I'm assuming he didn't. I didn't really catch much of that game because I wasn't home, but I'm guessing he just didn't have too good of a game. Matthew Judon's going down 1 to a 89 overall. Nick Bolton's going down 1 to a 86 overall. Marcus Peters is going down 1 to a 85 overall. Mike Hilton is going down 1 to a 82 overall. Dante Jackson's going down 1 to an 81 overall. Cody Whitehair is going down 1 to a 79 overall. Matt Gay is also going down 1 to a 79. Logan Ryan's going down 1 to a 77 overall. Brett Kern is going down 1 to a 75 overall. And Eli Apple, Mr. Big Talk himself, going down 1 to a 74 overall. Just ending the year on a fitting note for Eli Apple. It seems like every time he talks the most trash on Twitter, it's followed up by his team losing and him having a bad showing in that game. And I was rooting for the Bengals. I love the Bengals because I love Joe Burrow. I love Jamar Chase. I'm an LSU fan. But Eli Apple, if there's anybody that you like to see lose, he's one of those guys. Now, just yesterday, I did this amazing video where I did a tribute to Tom Brady, and I scored a touchdown with him in every single type of football game he's ever been in, from NCAA to Madden to 2K to NFL Street. You should check that video out right here on the screen.